This is not a prediction, it is a warning. And if you're listening, it means you're ready. Too many wait for the world to change while they rot from within. But a moment is coming, July 18, when life will no longer wait for your hesitation. This is not about fear, this is about clarity. A line is being drawn between those who train their spirit and those who continue to drift. In this video, I will guide you through ancient Shaolin truths, teachings kept alive, not by books, but by breath, discipline, and silence. You'll discover why comfort has become your cage, why attention is your greatest power, and why every so-called external crisis is really an invitation to master the war within. I'll share with you the deeper meaning behind discipline, not as punishment, but as a sacred path to freedom. You will learn how your breath can anchor you in chaos, and why letting go of who you think you are is the only way to become who you truly are. Most people will ignore the signs, most people will keep sleeping, but you chose to click on this message. That means something. And I promise you this, if you stay with me until the end, your mind will not leave untouched. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. Subscribe now and begin the journey few dare to take. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they want. But that kind of freedom is a trap. Real freedom does not come from escaping structure. It comes from mastering it. Shaolin monks wake up before the sun, train their bodies until they tremble, and sit in silence while the world races ahead. Not because they are forced to, but because they understand, without discipline, the mind becomes a wild animal. Every desire, every distraction, every comfort, if left unchecked, becomes your master. The body wants to be lazy. The mind wants to wander. The ego wants to be fed. Without discipline, you serve all three and call it freedom. We follow strict forms not to limit life, but to unlock it. Through form, we find stillness. Through repetition, we discover depth. And through hardship, we uncover strength that pleasure will never teach. Ask yourself, what have your freedoms really given you? Endless choice or endless confusion? Temporary highs or lasting peace? There is a reason why the warrior chooses the path of restraint. Freedom without control becomes chaos. Control without wisdom becomes prison. But when control is guided by wisdom, that is mastery. July 18 can be more than a date. It can be the moment you stop chasing ease and start choosing form. Structure is not your enemy. It is your sword. And in a world full of scattered minds and restless hearts, discipline is the rarest form of power. The greatest enemy you will ever face does not live outside you. It doesn't carry a weapon. It doesn't speak your name. It whispers in your own voice, and it knows exactly where you're weakest. The Shaolin warrior is trained in combat, yes, but long before he steps onto the training floor, his first battle begins within. Laziness arrives quietly. It tells you to rest when you haven't earned it. It disguises itself as peace, but it steals your fire. Anger burns fast. It promises justice, but blinds your judgment. It turns your power against you. And the ego, the most dangerous of all, convinces you that you are already awake, already strong, already above the struggle. But ancient masters knew better. They trained not just the body, but the will. Not just the fist, but the breath. They saw every hardship in life as a reflection, a polished mirror, revealing the cracks in their inner world. When life challenges you, ask, where am I still weak? Where am I not prepared? Where am I reacting instead of responding? Because the storm outside is not what breaks you. It is the storm inside, the one you let grow unchecked, that does the real damage. To master the self is not to silence the war. It is to observe it without fear, to step into it with clarity, and to choose again and again the path that leads upward, not the one that offers ease. Every day is a test, not to prove yourself to others, but to face the battlefield of your own mind and walk through it with quiet strength. ChatGPT said, attention is not small, it is everything. Where your attention rests, your energy follows. And where your energy flows, your life begins to take shape. Shaolin monks are not strong by accident, they are present. In every step they take, there is focus. In every breath, there is intention. Even when drinking tea or tying a sash, they train the mind to be still and here, because once your attention is stolen, you are no longer living, you are drifting. In the modern world, attention is the most hunted thing. Advertisements fight for it. Distractions surround it. Noise consumes it. And slowly you become scattered, doing many things but finishing nothing, speaking much but saying little, moving fast but arriving nowhere. Mindfulness is not a trend. It is survival. It is the shield that protects your inner temple from chaos. It is the sword that cuts through confusion and brings clarity. You don't master anything by accident. Mastery is born from stillness, from watching your own thoughts without chasing them, from breathing through discomfort instead of escaping it. Attention is the gateway. Without it, even the wisest teaching will pass through you like wind. But with it, even silence becomes a lesson. Comfort is the slowest form of decay. It wraps itself around you like warmth, but underneath, it rots the spirit. The modern world worships ease, soft beds, fast food, constant entertainment, but none of it brings you closer to peace. It only makes you numb. True peace is not the absence of pain. It is the strength to remain still in the midst of it. Shaolin monks do not chase suffering, but they do not run from it. They wake before the sun, train until their muscles burn, and meditate until the mind is silent. Not because it is easy, but because ease is the enemy of mastery. Hardship, when chosen, becomes a forge. It sharpens the will, cleanses the body, and strips the mind of weakness. Every time you step into discomfort, you train the spirit to endure, to focus, to lead. But when you cling to comfort, you trade your power for momentary relief. And soon, you forget how to push, how to resist, how to grow. Comfort is not happiness, it is surrender in disguise. You were not born to sit still. You were not made for soft living. There is a fire in you, but it dies in safety. July 18 is not just a day, it is a call to rise from the numbing law of comfort and return to the discipline that sharpens the soul. This is your moment to reject the illusions that keep you small, to step away from passive pleasure and walk toward purposeful pain. The world does not need more convenience, it needs more courage. And you must choose. Will you chase what suits you, or will you train what strengthens you? One path keeps you asleep, the other sets you free. The breath is your anchor, always present, always waiting. Yet most live as strangers to it, breathing fast, shallow, unconscious, rushed breath, rushed thoughts, rushed life. In Shaolin, breath is not just air. It is life force, cultivated with purpose, controlled with discipline, revered with silence. It is the bridge between body and mind, between reaction and awareness. When a monk enters combat, he does not first think of the strike. He returns to his breath. Because in the breath there is stillness, and in stillness there is mastery. Most people don't realize they are breathing to survive, not to live. They inhale fear, exhale tension, always shallow, always anxious. But deep breathing is a return to truth. It slows the pulse of chaos. It silences the noise of the world. And more importantly, it reveals where you truly are, not in time but in presence. When you feel lost, breathe. When the mind races, breathe. When anger rises or the body tightens, breathe, fully and with intention. Each breath becomes a moment of power, a return to control. Ancient masters knew this. You can only master what you are connected to. And if you are not connected to your breath, you are not connected to yourself. You do not need to run, speak, or prove. Start with one breath, deep, full, aware. Let it lead you back to the body, back to this moment. This is where training begins, not in action, but in awareness. Every great transformation begins here, not with a leap, not with a battle, with breath. Because breath is the master key that unlocks the door to everything else. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts arise. They come unbidden. They carry your fears, doubts, regrets. They chatter without pause. But they are not you. They are echoes bouncing off the walls of your mind. Silence, true silence, is where your power lives. Shaolin meditation teaches us to observe, not to react. Imagine the sky on a clear day. Clouds drift by. They shift, they vanish, but the sky remains vast and still. You are like that sky. Your thoughts are like clouds. Temporary, ever-changing, without substance. When you learn to watch your thoughts gently without judgment, something shifts. You begin to feel a space between the thinker and the thoughts. In that space, you find clarity, you find calm, you create a pause between impulse and action. In that pause, real choice is born. When anger arises, you don't lash out. You observe its presence. You watch the edge of your mind tremble. Then you decide. You respond rather than react. That is mastery. Silence is not emptiness. It is fertile ground. Ancient masters sat in empty halls, not to escape life, but to hear the wisdom within. They sat not to shut down thought, but to let the mind untangle itself. In that silence, insight is born. When you close your eyes and sit in quiet, don't chase your thoughts away. Let them float, watch them, and rest in the space beneath them. Deep, vast, unshakable. That space is who you truly are. The outer world will scream. Technology, news, endless distraction, they all demand your mind. But when you have learned the silence inside, none of it can control you. Silence strengthens you, it rebuilds you, it aligns you with your deepest nature. And in that aligned state, wisdom speaks, softly, clearly, unmistakably. To truly live, you must first be willing to die. Not the death of the body, but the death of everything false within you. The death of the ego, the death of the image you protect. The version of you built from fear, pride, and story. In Shaolin, this death is not feared. It is honored, because only in dying to illusion can truth rise. The warrior understands, what clings to the self is often what must be released. The ego tells you to defend your name, to prove your worth, to control the world around you. But the path of mastery does not require more armor, it requires less. When the ego dies, something ancient awakens, a deeper awareness, a strength that doesn't need to shout, a peace that does not bend with approval or rejection. Let the old self collapse. Let July 18 be your funeral. For your laziness, your excuses, your need to be right. Burn it all. Stand quietly in the ashes and feel what remains when nothing else is left. That stillness is your true nature. That emptiness is full of life. Rebirth does not come from motivation. It comes from letting go. It's from releasing the need to be someone and becoming no one, so that you can finally become whole. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. You are not here to become more. You are here to become less. Less attached, less reactive, less false. In losing what you are not, you uncover what you've always been. And that self, pure, grounded, free, does not chase. It does not cling. It simply is. A warning is not a punishment. It is a gift. A sign that something within you is still alive. Aware enough to feel the disturbance. Wise enough to hear the whisper. Most ignore it. They call it anxiety, or bad luck, or someone else's fault. But those who walk the path of inner mastery know, when life shakes you, it is not to break you, it is to wake you. To be warned is to be seen. To be seen is to be loved. And love, in its highest form, does not always comfort, it challenges. The universe does not speak with thunder. It speaks in patterns. Repeating lessons, missed moments, attention that won't leave your chest. There is a voice inside you that knows when you are drifting, even if you pretend not to hear it. It grows louder the longer you ignore it. Not out of cruelty, but out of care. Because something greater wants you to rise, wants you to break the loop, wants you to stop living a life that does not match the power buried in your bones. Ancient teachers understood this. They trained the body so it would not flinch. They trained the mind so it would not run. And they trained the heart to remain open even when the message was hard to receive. Do not dismiss what unsettles you. It is not there to hurt you. It is there to reveal where you've been asleep. July 18 is not a threat, it is a mirror. What you see in it will depend on how deeply you're willing to look, and whether you will act before the whisper becomes a storm. Every day the path appears, not in grand moments, but in quiet choices. Wake or sleep in, move or stay still, discipline or delay. This is the training ground, not a temple, not a battlefield, but the space between breath and action, between thought and choice. Shaolin masters do not ask if they feel ready. They rise with the sun, even when the body is tired. They sit in silence, Even when the mind resists, they train because discipline is not a reaction, it is a way of being. They know that waiting for the perfect moment is the way of the lost. Life will not wait. It does not send the same signal twice. If you ignore the quiet nudge, you invite the louder blow. If you miss the lesson today, it returns tomorrow, sharper, heavier, more demanding. But when you meet the day with practice, with presence, with strength, the chaos outside begins to bend to the stillness within. This is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You fall, you return, you drift, you refocus. Over time, the scattered mind becomes steady. The restless heart becomes clear. And the ordinary day becomes sacred. Start moving, even when you feel heavy. Start meditating, even when the thoughts shout. Start mastering, even when doubt whispers. Because the discipline you build today becomes the peace you carry tomorrow. This moment right now is not small. It is everything. Every step, every breath, every decision is training, not just for the body, but for the warrior within. The world moves with or without you. It does not pause for hesitation, and it does not ask if you feel ready. Readiness is a myth. The mind creates to delay action. The truth is simple. If you wait to feel ready, you will wait your entire life. The Shaolin path does not teach comfort. It teaches timing. It teaches you to move when the signal appears, not when your emotions agree. The masters act with stillness in their hearts and clarity in their minds, not because they are fearless, but because they do not allow fear to decide. Every breath you take is time you cannot reclaim. Every moment spent doubting is a moment stolen from your potential. The clock is not your enemy, it is your reminder. A soft but steady beat saying, you are not promised tomorrow. July 18 is not just a date on the calendar. It is a line in the sand. A mark that says, from this moment, I will no longer delay. No more waiting for the mood to strike. No more bargaining with fear. No more pretending that your highest self can be postponed. Action is the medicine. Movement is the answer. Discipline is the doorway. Begin before you're ready. Speak truth before it's perfect. Step forward while your legs still shake. The world is not slowing down. The noise will not quiet itself. The storm outside only begins to settle when the warrior within stands up and chooses to move. Let this be the moment you stop crossing the same lines. Let this be the day you say, I begin now. Not because I'm ready, but because I refuse to remain asleep. The real warning is not about July 18. It is about how long you've waited to return to yourself. This moment, this breath, this choice is all you truly have. The ancient path does not begin with knowledge. It begins with awareness. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, you don't need the world to slow down. You need to become still within it. You don't need more chances. You need one honest decision. Let this message settle. Let it move something in you. Not with fear, but with quiet strength. Because awakening isn't loud. It's a calm, steady shift that changes everything. Use today as your starting point. Take one step toward discipline, one breath toward mindfulness, one choice toward mastery. Not to impress the world, but to honor the part of you that's been waiting to rise. Thank you for walking this path with us. If this message spoke to your spirit, like this video, share it with someone who needs it. And subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire for more teachings rooted in ancient wisdom and devoted to your inner strength. Stay present, stay steady, and remember, the real journey begins within.